Okay, that's a good timing. What is the Community Data Program, or CDP? CDP is created in the mid-1990s by the Canadian Council on Social Development, or CCSD, to track poverty at the local level. In 2019, CDP was transitioned from CCSD to the Canadian Community Economic Development Network, or CEDNet. Our focus is on acquiring data for a small area geography from data sources like Statistics Canada or CMHA. And we are now offering data products, analytical tools, and services that are unique in Canada and exclusive to our members. Community Data Program, as its core, is really a model for sharing the cost of acquiring customized local data. And we will talk more about that in the kind of next slide. So here there are three priority areas that we have for services we provide to CDP members: access to data, training, capacity building, and networking. The first service is data access. So the CDP is primarily a data cost sharing program when we work with our members to identify which data sets are the most important to them and purchase these data sets nationwide at the smallest geographic scales possible. This eliminates the redundancy of ordering the same data sets multiple times from providers and instead shares the cost of ordering the data sets once, which overall leads to cost sharing. Right now, at our data catalog that we will have a live demonstration and show you more details, we have over 1,500 credible data products that cover a diverse range of themes that you will see on the right of the screen. And beyond buying the data, we also provide access to data by transforming existing data sets into new data sets. So as an example, the Canadian Index of Multiple Deprivation, which is only released at the dissemination area, but we transform this data to also be available at higher levels of geography, census division and census subdivision. And finally, we are always available for your questions. It can be about the data that you get from us, or even if we can't provide you the data that you need, we can always point you in the right direction to find that data. The second service we provide is training and capacity building. At CDP, we do our best to support all skills levels by providing training, support tools, dashboards, and webinars for our members. So as an example, on the right, you will see the community recovery dashboard that we released in response to the pandemic. We also recently released dashboard using data from tax filers and from the longitudinal immigration database. Many of our dashboards have written or video tutorials that help you to start it and understand the details of the dashboards. And August will talk about the Tableau dashboard more in details in this orientation. And as a kind of the reminder that we are always available if you have any questions about the data products, about Tableau dashboards and infographics. In this service, we are also always looking to collaborate with our members to take on new projects that will benefit the collective. So as an example in this area, we heard from our members that they need more information related to rental affordability. And in response, we have started collecting rental data from the public listings websites to create a rental affordability dashboard. And we will talk more about the May events in Thunder Bay, but this is one of the presentation items that will go through our dashboard and present it to the people in the room. And finally, we are exploring how we can bring in modern advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning in a way that benefit the group. And then final service we provide is a cross-Canada networking service. The map you will see show the reach of the community data program across Canada, and it's almost, but not completely, covers the whole Canada. So we are always looking to expand, and our goal is to completely fill Canada in the future. We host annual meetings like the May events that will talk more about that. We have leads meeting 2 times in a year to kind of provide the updates to our consortium leads. We have we sent out newsletters. We share the CDP members' data stories on our website, and like this webinars and then any other webinars we have, we host webinars to bring kind of the more details about the available data or anything that can be used with our data program. And now we'll want to talk a little bit more about the structure of community data program. So CDP operates as a consortium network and has over 30 consortia. Under these consortia, we have in total more than 400 member organizations, and then those organizations have over 2,500 registered individuals. So what are the consortia? The consortia are typically geographic locations, like a province or a region within a province, that the member organizations of the consortia can be the nonprofit organizations that fall within the region. So just bring you an example for you so you can have a better idea how this structure works. We have York Region Data Consortium that's a couple of member organizations within this region: City of Markham, United Way Greater Toronto, York Region District School Board, and York Regional Police. So you will see that from different kind of sectors, they are all fall within the York region, and their members can easily access the community data program services for free. And talking about the cost and free access, so I would like to explain the membership structure. So our membership fees are structured in a top-down manner where consortium pay the main fees, which are weighted by the population of that consortium. And member organizations pay an annual 150 fee, and whichever fees their consortium requires, and individuals in member organizations pay nothing. So the benefits of the structure is that allows for an equal split of fees based on populations, so that both small communities and large communities can participate. It also allows consortium the freedom to recover these costs in whichever manner is most beneficial to their community, and individuals in the member organization can access to the program kind of with no cost. And of course, CDP can be financially sustainable and allow us to continue to help communities in the future. So this chart shows kind of how you can access CDP data. And you can go through this if you are new to the community data program and see how you can find the kind of the services if you are already in the organizations. So you can easily create a user account and access the data for free if your organization is under the current existing consortium. And if not, you can kind of always reach out to us. There is a service that we provide to non-members. So if your organization is not a nonprofit or public sector with a local mandate, we can kind of provide you a community analytic project. So this is a service we have for non-members, and the kind of typical services we provide is custom community data analysis and community data visualization and interactive mapping. So these are kind of the examples that we have, like Energy Poverty and Equity Explorer, the two-year project working with Canadian urban sustainability practitioners, interactive community map and dashboard for Amazon Future Engineers, and neighborhood financial health index mapping and report. So these are the projects that we've done, and we can provide the community analytics service for our members. So please reach out to us and information@commundata.ca to learn more about that. So I pass it to Mike for his presentation part. Would you like me to stop sharing?
Oh, yeah, I guess I will need to get that.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, stop sharing.
Thanks. Quick little transition. You have to let me share. There we go.
You should be able to.
Okay. Everyone seeing my screen?
Yes, it's in the, now presentation mode.
Sorry, here we go. Yeah, so I'll just quickly run through some of the tools that are available to you. I'll go through the slides and then give a presentation, a live demonstration of the website and downloading some files, opening them in Beyond 2020, and give a quick orientation of how to use Beyond 2020. I'm not sure, perhaps you're familiar with Beyond 2020 already, but I'll try to go through it fairly quickly. Yeah, as Katie pointed out, the data catalog is sort of the heart of the program. You can access it by hitting the Find Data button up at the top. There's no limit to the number of data downloads. Data are typically available in a lot of them, particularly tables from the census are available in IVT or Beyond 2020 format. But we do have tables in Excel, and then there's products that we put up in Tableau. There's just a little glimpse of what the catalog looks like, but I'll give you a demonstration later. And again, I'll go over Beyond 2020 more later in this program, but one of the, there's a little GIF playing here of how it functions. One of the reasons why we use this program is because it allows us to make large multi-dimensional tables available in a fairly small file size, and that also brings down the cost of the program. To have some of these tables for geographies across Canada, which, as Sadie pointed out, when we acquire data, the community data program, we purchase it for all of Canada. And so a table that covers all geographies of Canada and has numerous dimensions, if you had that as a flat file, would be large and unwieldy and actually a fair bit more expensive for StatScan to provide. We'll talk about Beyond 2020 in a bit. Sadie talked briefly about the types of data that we get in the program, and just repeating what she said, we always try to get the smallest geographic scale possible. So minimum, we want to get things that are at the census division, census subdivision, so that's like county and municipality level. With some exception, we'll get something at the CMA level if it's really like of interest, such as the labor force survey. But generally, the cutoff is census division. We also get data at the at custom geographies for our members for census tables. So what we'll do before production is we'll ask our members to submit their custom geographies as either shape files or as correspondence tables that list, say for a particular ward, what census tracts are contained in that ward. And then we submit that to Statistics Canada. And then for a limited number of tables, we will get those data on custom geographies. And then a lot of other tables that we get when it says your custom StatsCan data. So we get custom boundaries, but a lot of what we get are custom cross tabulations. So these are data that are not available on StatsCan's website. There's a lot of data for free on their website. Our our niche in this is to get the stuff that is not free. So either taking the tables that are available on their site and getting it at smaller levels of geography, because a lot of what's on there is, say, only available to the CMA level, or just getting completely new custom cross tabulations. And then, listed here as well, we talk about we make some links to open data available in the catalog, things that are probably of interest to some of our members. I'm going to skip this, but it'll be available for you in the notes. Just a little guide on StatsCan on this is all census geography, and I'll run quickly through the types of data that we have in the catalog. This is listed here. In somewhat broad strokes. Census is sort of at the heart of what we get for the program, but we also get tax filer data that's from the T1 family file. That's a yearly data source, and you get information on income and family status and age and certain other variables based around the family census family unit. Canadian business count is another popular product that we get. Gives counts of businesses, establishments, and locations broken out by industry code and employee size range. The postal code conversion file will let you convert postal codes into census geography. Longitudinal immigration database, that's as I said, it's a longitudinal data source that lets you follow certain immigration cohorts. It links IRCC immigration data to tax filer records, so you can follow certain cohorts, economic outcomes, or their mobility to see whether where they indicated that they were going to be settling is the same places where they're filing taxes. Longitudinal administrative data bank is again also longitudinal. The tables, you can do a lot with this data set, but what we have in there mostly deals with low income dynamics. So how long do people stay in low income? What's the entry and exit rate from low income? Building permits. We get debt data sometimes from previously Equifax and now TransUnion. So that's consumer debt and mortgage debt. We haven't gotten that since 2019, but we're looking to get 2025 data this year. And then we get yearly estimates of population by age and sex. So if you want detailed population estimates after the census, then this is a good source. And this says we get it by age and sex at CSD level geographies, but recently we got some estimates made at the census tract level for total population only, but from 2021 to 2024. So it's a sort of more low level estimates for population.
Michael,
I see. Yeah, go ahead.
question or kind of asking for explanation about postal code data conversion.
I can't see the question right now. Let me just.
Yeah, they say, can you please explain postal code data conversion as well?
Sure. It's we have a whole webinar on it, so I don't know if I can explain it that quickly, but essentially it lists all of the postal codes in Canada, and any overlap of a postal code, mainly with a dissemination area level is given. And then it also indicates, so there'll be multiple records for a given postal code. This postal code matches to this dissemination area level. This postal code also matches to this dissemination area level, and it lists additional higher levels of geography, so you can see what census subdivision, what municipality it belongs to as well. And then it also indicates which census geography the postal code is best represented by. So usually which dissemination area represents the postal code best. But in some cases where there's not a good match, it will tell you which census subdivision it matches best. I hope that's a reasonable explanation. We can talk a little bit more about it perhaps at the end if necessary. There's another just sort of miscellaneous list of what we have in the catalog. Canadian Survey on Disability, the standard tables are at the provincial level, but we get data at the census subdivision and census division level. Internet Use Survey, as Sadie mentioned, we've taken the Canadian Index of Multiple Deprivation at the DA level and rolled it up to higher levels of geography. Labor force survey tables. So this we only get at the economic region and CMA level. We're looking to see what can be done now that they've increased their sample size and have come up with this self-contained labor area geography, which covers all of Canada and is a fairly small level of geography. They have some modeled estimates of labor force characteristics at those levels of geography. So just employment and unemployment. But we're going to see if it's possible to get other data at that level of geography and what that might cost. CMHC has their housing market information portal. We request, they're giving us the flat files that populate that portal, just because sometimes the portal is a bit clunky to use if you want more than one geography or one time period, for example. We occasionally experiment with modeled estimates. We did this for average household liquid assets. We get data from IRCC on permanent residents and temporary residents. Some of that should be coming in shortly for 2024. Employment insurance statistics at the census subdivision level monthly. And then, as mentioned before, we link to open data sources. Trying to change my slide. So I went into a little bit of detail here on some of these other data sources. I'll try to go through this quickly. The census, a lot of you are, I'm sure, familiar with it, comes out every 5 years. There's typically around a 2-year lag for data production. By the time we start, they have improved this recently, but by the time we get our custom data sets, you can't really get those custom data sets until all of the standard releases are finished. Or at least the custom data sets that we're getting. So as mentioned before, we get custom tabulations. One popular data product that we get are the target group profiles. This is like taking the census profile, which is sort of a simple summary of everything that's asked in the census, but for a particular demographic group. So you'll have census, a target group profile for racialized population, by immigrant status, by age group, lone parents. It's worth looking. There's a long list of them, and then a number of just custom tabulations. And so I have some examples here of the types of tabulations that we get. Community Poverty Project cross tabulates all the different low income lines. with various dimensions. Core housing need is another popular one. Target group profiles I just explained. The NEAT tables, it's worth exploring what we have in there. Again, tax filer tables, that's also pretty much everything in StatScan, any survey will typically have about a 2-year lag in publication. So you get this postal geographies and then census geographies. And it's worth noting if you're using census geographies that they use the postal code conversion file essentially to map tax filer data into census geographies. So it's kind of imperfect and it's worth checking. We have tools to check and see how good the coverage is. We have tables that look at individuals, families, seniors. This gives an idea of the types of variables that are included in there. We get financial data and charitable donations and migration estimates, but we also have a couple of custom tabulations that we get on working poor. So getting an idea of the population that is earning at least $3,000 a year, but is still has income below the low income measure. And then other tables on income inequality. So this is essentially dividing income into deciles, and so you get the after-tax income threshold upper limits of these deciles, and that's geography specific. So it's not the national distribution. You're looking at a local municipal distribution, or even at census tracts, or any of the geographies that are in there. And then it gives the aggregate income by decile. So you can do some of those inequality calculations, like 90th to 10th income, or 80-20. Okay, so this is, I guess I don't know that I have the updated slide. Anyway, I'm going to jump into my live demonstration quickly. If I see there's a bunch of messages in the chat, I don't know if any of those are questions about what I'm doing.
Yeah, Mike, someone was just asking about the best way to stay up to date with the data. If you could talk a bit more about the subscribing to the different topics and just show people how that's done, because that's just something I could use a bit of orientation on as well. So that'd be good.
Or we don't, I mean, you can, the best way really to do it, we don't have any feed.
Well, isn't
that goes
it
out.
here? Click in, go to a data source. Here, we're doing it live. And then just click on any of them. Yeah.
Like to set an RSS feed?
No, so just like click on Census 2021 data tables, the product group.
Yeah.
So you should be able to click subscribe there then, right? And I think whenever anything related to census, oh, does that not?
This is for an RSS feed.
Okay. My
And
mistake
so
then.
you have to, yeah, and I'm not sure how well that's set up. This and I don't know how popular RSS feeds are anymore, because I mean, you can go and check your RSS feed, or you can just come to our website. But yeah, I'd say that one of the best ways, we send out a newsletter. We try to do it about quarterly, and in that we give updates on the different data sets that we have. Otherwise, come to our website.
Yeah, I think a lot of users they will just bookmark this page in particular and then go directly here. Another good one to bookmark and check out daily is the Daily by Statistics Canada, because they're always posting as soon as different data sets come out. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. No, yeah, this will give you an indication of when we've posted the data. If you have any questions about when something is coming out, feel free to contact me directly. It's mike@communitydata.ca, and generally have a good idea of when things come out in the year or when we're expecting certain data sets. It's a question that I get fairly regularly. I just switched my earpiece. Everyone can hear me fine, I assume.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, so I'll do a quick run through. I see I think we're a little behind schedule, but just to give a quick demo of the website, here's your landing page. I'd let you just explore that on your own. The About menu, again, explore this on your own. This is where you can see, someone had asked about finding how to see what consortia exist. That would be here. The resources menu I should linger on a little bit because we try to provide some useful resources, particularly, we record all of our webinars. The orientations, this, it's, if you're looking for beyond 2020 orientation, there's a few orientations in here that are a bit more specialized. A lot of these are somewhat similar though, like, this orientation here, I don't know that you need to go back to 2023. But profiles on particular products, and then looking to see what other people have done with the data. We invite a lot of interesting speakers in and get some of our members to present. And I think we talked about it already. If we haven't, if anyone wants to do some data show and tell, we're always happy to host that in a webinar. And a few interesting data resources here. If you can search the data catalog using the Find Data button. This link here will just give you an Excel file with all of the tables that are in the catalog and some of the metadata. It can, for people who are comfortable with that, it can be an interesting way of searching for the data. If you don't have Beyond 2020, you can download it here. Some tips on using Beyond 2020. Yeah, news, we try to post interesting community data news, and we have our newsletters that go out regularly. And then a few portals. This is for something specialized for a national network of local immigration partnerships. And then our collection of infographics and dashboards can be found here. If you don't have an account, you can go here to join and register here. If you ever need to access your account and say see everything that you've downloaded, that's here under files, or you can edit and change your password if you need to. That's as quick an overview of the website as I can give, but really probably want to spend time on the catalog and finding data sets. So you'll see it's just everything here is listed in reverse chronological order. So the most recent items are listed first. You can use these filters to search the catalog. My recommendation, so that the topics, we have the tables very roughly categorized by topic. I find this is a good sort of first look at what's in there, but I would not rely exclusively on this filter because we developed this a bit later, and I don't find it's perfect. But if you know the type of data that you're looking for, then the product group is maybe the best place to go to find what you're looking for. So I know I want something on business, or I know I want something from the census, or particularly I want something from 2021, or I need something from 2016. So, and you can, do multiple, use multiple filters, it's just worth noting that within, so this is going to produce tables that are 2021 census tables and are at custom geographies. So anything, if I put something if I for some reason put 2016 here, it's not going to find anything. It has to match both these criteria. But within a filter, I could have multiple criteria, and it will match both of them. So it doesn't have to be both a data table and a CPP table. It'll give me data tables at custom geographies and these community poverty project tables at custom geographies, if that's clear. Years within data, the data provider, I think, is all fairly self-explanatory. The title is going to be looking for essentially an exact match of anything that's in this text. So you can see, I've got home energy in there because we have some home energy spending tables, and that will find me these tables that we acquired on home energy spending. So let's say that you have are searching for a particular table. If you want to learn more about it, you click on the link. Obviously, we recommend that you read through the metadata. And if you need to understand a table title, these are the various dimensions that are in a table. So there's one table that is looking at age groups, and it has 12 variables in it, 12 age categories. There's a dimension on educational attainment, and it has 16 categories in it, the selected demographic characteristics, and 28. And if you want to see what those are, you want to get a view of what is in the table, then you can look at the dimensions and click on this link. So what are the selected demographic characteristics? Here they are split out. So you're going to be able to get counts by immigrants that arrived between 2011 and 2015, these various categories of physical minority or indigenous identity. And so you decide that you want this table, and you select the geography that you're interested in, and it can be, we have this all abbreviated, so this is where that that little refresher on census geography comes in handy. Your census division, census subdivisions, census metropolitan area, census agglomeration, census tracts. This is your aggregate dissemination area and custom geographies. You would select this, add it to the cart, and then just check out, complete checkout. And here is your download link. And you can save it to wherever you need it to go. So the download link appears here, but then it will also, you'll receive an email, but you can also find these in your list of files. So there's my most recent download. I see some questions coming. Is there anything?
We just had a question about data available at the neighborhood level.
The neighborhood level, that's a bit of a vague term. So we have data, not this table apparently down to the, we don't have this at, say, the DA level, but we have it for census tracts and aggregate dissemination areas. So that's a sub-municipal level, but these are standard geographies. So for neighborhoods as they are defined by your municipality, by your city, that would have to be a custom geography, and it would have to have been something that your that your municipality, that a member submitted, saying that this is a definition of a neighborhood in my community, and we would like to get census data for those neighborhoods. And it's worth noting that it is definitely not too early to start thinking about getting custom geography submissions ready for the 2026 census. That often takes a little bit of time on your end to get them defined, and getting it to us as early as possible helps us to get it into StatsCan. And even if they aren't able to start the geocoding process now, they can still start looking at it, processing it, and it just puts us in the production queue. And anyway, the sooner we get your submissions, the sooner we can get the data to you.
Yeah, just to add on to Mike was saying, and to clarify a bit, so the difficulty with the neighborhood level data is that neighborhood is not like a clearly defined standard geography that's would be based like nationally. So like, you know, a neighborhood could be called something different depending on who you're asking or what association you're asking. We are going to be having some data coming up at the neighborhood level, but just for CMHC. That'll be coming under a new geography that we add to the website called CMHC neighborhood. Another tip I could give you in regards to this would be that if you could create some sort of key for your area where you map, you know, these neighborhoods you have defined to census tracts or to census divisions, then you could extract the data from Beyond 2020 in a CSV or any other format, and then join your neighborhood map to that file. And in that way, sort of create your own neighborhood level data. But yeah, there's just not really one defined national neighborhood geography. So that's what makes it difficult for us to acquire data.
Yeah, it's great if it's always better. Sorry, I shouldn't say it's easier for StatsCan to create custom geographies out of their standard geographies. But if you need to, that doesn't match it, that's fine. You give us a shape file and we'll submit that for you. But if your neighborhoods are created out of standard geographies, or any custom geography that you're using is created out of standard geographies, you can create it on your own and extract the data. It's better for you to give us those data, and for us to create to have a custom geo submission for you. Because if you are using census tract or dissemination area level data to create your neighborhoods, you're more subject to the random rounding that occurs in tables, and suppression that's occurring at the dissemination area level and census tract level. So aggregating all those DAs or census tracts and just getting the neighborhood is going to improve the data quality. So after you've downloaded a file package, you may get something that looks like this. It often comes as a zip file, and we typically have the files sort of set up. The file names give an indication of what the the different geographic levels, or say, so in this case, this is for Community Poverty Project table number 1. If you downloaded the DA level table, or the one that has census divisions, census subdivisions, it's going to be split up by geographic region. So you would choose your geographic region of interest to find your data. I mean, that's the searching the catalog process and downloading process in a nutshell. If you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer it. But I feel like we are running a bit behind, and so I'll quickly just give the Beyond 2020 demonstration. I have a few Beyond 2020 tables open here. so it opens looking something like this. Thing to know about Beyond 2020. It's not an intuitive software, but it doesn't take long to learn. It's a dissemination software, so you're not doing anything in this. You don't use this. The idea is essentially to get the data out of here into Excel or into whatever other software you're using to play with the data. They do have charts and other things you can do, but I just recommend that what you want to do is just get the data out. A lot of it is based on just dragging and dropping the dimensions around. So, I can quickly change the rows and columns just by clicking on this and dragging it. You see that's highlighted, and then when I let go, columns and rows switch. You can even start dragging things down from above. And I want to have the age groups here. So the selected characteristics jumps up and the age groups comes down. It's worth noting, right now, this table is for Canada, and the default is that these dimensions that are up top are providing a total. So essentially, they're not, this table, is for all age groups and for all genders. If I say I, just had clicked here, so now it's on South Asian, and I was to grab age groups and bring it down, it's worth noting now that selected cultural characteristics up here, it is now selected for South Asian. So this entire table is being filtered by this dimension to show only the counts for South Asian category of visible minority. You can change this by clicking on it and playing around with these arrows. Or you can just bring it back here, select your total. And now you see that it's looking at the total. That's just an easy way to sort of make a mistake in this program. Another thing that people obviously will want to do with Beyond 2020 is to find a geography of interest. So drag down the geography dimension, and you can go scrolling through to find it if you like. But there is a search function. Before I show you the search function, it's worth noting that all of these dimensions can have multiple labels. So we're looking at what is essentially an English description of these geographies. But you can change the label by clicking on this button, or so I don't quite remember where it is. Anyway, a lot of these commands are up in the top menu, but if you click the next label button, you can see that it gives the geography is now just listing the geographic level and the unique identifier, which is from the standard geographical classification that StatsCan uses. If I click it again, this is a data quality indicator. This is just showing the geographic levels. So here, if provinces, census divisions, census subdivisions, and DAs.
All right, Mike,
change
it's 2:30 now, so we should probably move on if we can.
Okay, I'll quickly wrap up what you can do with Beyond 2020, and
yeah, okay.
It gives a little index. Right click to, after you've highlighted something, you can show only these. You can grab things and hide things of interest. You can always get everything back by showing all. But if you're searching for something, then I'm gonna search the English description for, say, Winnipeg, and then the table's reduced to show only Winnipeg. And once you need to get something out of there, you can either just take it, copy it, and paste it in a sheet, or go here, save as, and save it as a CSV file. I think that gives, we have other resources on using Beyond 2020. So if you need more help with that, I would recommend checking those out on our website. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the chat.
Yeah, Mike, a question for you while I get my thing set up. Someone had just asked if there was additional costs associated with submitting custom geographies.
No, for now, no. That's covered in the cost of membership. If I don't know who submitted that, but typically the way of doing it is, the way to do it would be to submit them to your lead, the consortium lead, or if you are going to submit custom geographies, I mean, you can submit it directly to me, but just copy your lead, which if you go to that consortia page, that I linked to above, showing all the different consortia, you can find out who the lead is for your consortium. If you have custom geographies that are already submitted to StatsCan and you want us to get StatsCan tables, census tables for them, we'll need permission. And so you just inform us, you'll have to write StatsCan saying that we have permission to use your custom geographies if the geocoding has already been done.
You're on mute.
Okay, you guys see that now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I got two monitors set up here and it kept bouncing back and forth. Okay, I'm going to quickly talk about Tableau now. So just to go over some of the, let's see, I think I might have a tab before this actually. Yeah, here we go. Intro to Tableau. Okay. I got like turn the monitor off and on to get it here. Okay, now it's gone. Okay, there we go. Intro to Tableau. So what is Tableau? It's just a data visualization and analysis platform. A lot of you are probably familiar with it. It's a software for building and sharing interactive infographics and data tools, which we call dashboards typically. So for CDP members, we hope to reach our modest capacity users, just to give them, some visuals and things that they can bring into their reports and meetings, and to provide an easier way of getting the data compared to Beyond 2020, because sometimes it's hard to filter Beyond 2020 to the view that you want, and then it can also be quite the slog to get the data out and into a software such as Tableau at times. We like to cover all of Canada at varying levels of geography. So I always try to include as many geographies as possible. And then we also like to provide training and support. So that's through orientations like this. And then again, I always stress, please email us any questions, information@communitydata.ca, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'm always monitoring that. Beyond those hours, I'm probably still monitoring it. And sometimes I reply to people scary fast, like within minutes. So yeah, again, any questions, just reach out. We are very happy to help. That's really what makes this job great, is being able to help you guys. So please, you'd be doing us a favor. So some strengths and weaknesses of Tableau dashboards. So they're easy to find the data through different drop-down menus. You can easily conduct a multi-dimensional analysis, so intersectionality of different demographic groups, incomes, tenures, etc. You get some appealing and intuitive graphics and designs. So again, if you want to lift things directly from here for different reports and stuff, it's easy to do that. Some weaknesses, you have to download Tableau Reader, and some organizations will require IT permissions to do that. Tableau Reader, it's a free program that anyone could get. So if you are so inclined, you could always download Tableau Reader on your personal computer. There's not really anything to be concerned about there. Tableau is a very well-known, trusted company. And then the Tableau dashboards can be designed with varying degrees of complexity, which Can be a weakness because sometimes they can get, a bit confusing themselves just because of all the built-in complexities. So moving on, finding dashboards in the catalog. So right now there's over 40 dashboards available to CDP users. So this PowerPoint will be made available after this orientation. And these are hyperlinks here, so you could click these, but you could also go onto the website and go into the interactive infographics and dashboards portal, and it should look something like this image here on the right. And then as you scroll down, you can read about the different dashboards and then click the links to go to the catalog page to download them. You can also go directly into the catalog as Mike was showing, and up in product group, if you choose data analysis and visualization tools, that'll filter it down to all of the data analysis and visualization tools. But yeah, I recommend the infographics and dashboards page in particular. So the dashboards are all in packaged workbook format, which is openable in Tableau Reader. Something else that is important to know about this format is that you can also treat these as zip files and extract this. And when you do that, you will get the hyper file that was used to make the Tableau dashboard, and you can get like the underlying data in the format it was in for the dashboard from that file as well. You can also get like images and things that were used in the dashboard. So like if you want to recreate stuff yourself, that's a good tip to know. So now I'm just going to talk about the latest dashboard that's available in the catalog and then just do a very quick demo of it. So this one is called the Immigration and Housing Dashboard 2021. It's from the 2021 census. It's this massive custom table that we got with 102 different household and housing characteristics. A lot of them aren't actually related to household and housing, but that's just the nomenclature that Statistics Canada used when we got this file. So this was a collaboration with the National LIP Secretariat to inform on many topics, mainly housing across multiple immigrant statuses. And I'll show this more once we're in the dashboard. And I really want to show this one off as a reminder that, even though this is, slated as an immigration dashboard, part of the story of immigration is the non-immigrant population as well. So usually the non-immigrant population will be included in this as well as, a total. And that total will reflect, everyone, not just the immigrant population. So yeah, that's just a good thing to remember that, just because immigration is in the title doesn't mean that it doesn't have anything related to non-immigrants and such. So I'm going to stop sharing this and then share Tableau.
In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box, and we will have around 10 minutes at the 10 to 15 minutes to ask questions. And we'll share the recordings and presentation slide and the community data program webinar page in the coming days.
So once you have Tableau Reader downloaded and you have the dashboard of your choice downloaded, you'll just open in Tableau Reader and you'll be greeted by a page like this. You can click this little button here to go into presentation mode, just to make things a bit nicer if you're working with other people or just for exploring yourself. So all the dashboards will start off with a welcome page, which will give you a bit more information about the dashboard. If you've read the catalog entry, it's going to be very similar to the catalog entry, but it's not guaranteed to be the exact same. So this one here is telling you about the different drop-down menus and the order in which you should be using them, which is typically the order they are numbered. And then it provides like this this color scale to let you know the legend, and kind of just explains how the colors are used throughout it. There's this data sources here where you can click and go to our catalog to download the table that was transformed to make this. And then at the end of every file as well, we will have a data sources and notes tab where, again, you can download the data source, but then you can also read some notes about the data and about the dashboard. So this note here is saying you may notice different totals across different visuals, and that's because the rounding, random rounding could cause slight variations. Another important thing to remember is that depending on the variable that you're looking at, it may be a different population group that was like is the basis population group. So like, you know, you could look at tenure, and tenure could be for households, or you could look at tenure and tenure could be for individuals instead. So it's always good to look back at the IVT file if you're unsure to see the different caveats within there. So going back to the welcome page, you'll just click this button here, which will bring you into the very first page. So across the top here, we have a bunch of different filters. As I was saying, I suggest that you you do these filters in the order that they're labeled, but it's not completely necessary to do that. But typically what will happen is if you change one of these filters, so let's change the level of geography from being local immigration partnerships to census subdivisions, and you'll see like everything went blank here. This will happen a lot. And all that's happening here is it means that this selection and this filter, there's no available selection in one of these other filters, which leads to no data being available to populate the view. And this is also indicated by these brackets here. So we can see these brackets around geography, around the Edmonton Local Immigration Partnership geography. And that's kind of indicating to us that this is probably our problem column, our problem filter rather. This one here, it also has the brackets, but that's just to indicate that it's multiple values selected. So we're going to change this now to, let's say, let's say Guelph, which is where I am. So you can search things, or you can scroll through things to find where you want. Also, if you know the UID, you can type in the UID instead. So 3523 is the Census Division unique identifier. So now that I've searched 3523, I can see all of the census subdivisions within Wellington, which is the census division here. Yeah, and then when you go across, so this here is the admission category. So as I was saying, right now we have the non-immigrant population displayed here. You can also choose total. So that's going to be the combined of the immigrant population and the non-immigrant population, and I believe as well the non-permanent residents. And then if you go to admission category, so this is where this kind of becomes, it becomes more obvious that this is mainly focused on immigration, because if you choose something like, you know, economic immigrants, then obviously there's not going to be any data for non-immigrants anymore. So yeah, you'll have to be a total to have to show that data there. This one here is just for label display. So again, like I was saying, if you want to take things out of this and use in a report, that's awesome. That's what we encourage. One of the things that you can do that's very helpful is you can go up to File and then choose Export as PowerPoint. And what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to make these dashboards the same dimensions as PowerPoint, so that when you do this export as PowerPoint, sorry, you might not be seeing the pop-up menu that comes, but you go up to File in the top left, and then you go down and there'll just be a button that says Export as PowerPoint. And then this view will perfectly fit within a PowerPoint slide, right? So you don't have to edit anything. Another helpful way to get data, sorry, I'll tell you that after I tell you this. So again, back to this label display, but let's say for your presentation, you don't want to see percentages, then you can go here and switch this to counts, and then you'll see the counts instead. And then, you know, we'll flip through some different pages here. So there's navigation buttons at the top. If we go across to income here, just going to use income here because it's a good example for this. If you click on any visual so that it gets like a border around it, so you see how this border came up around all of income. If you then go up to worksheet, export, and then cross tab to Excel, this is going to populate this into Excel. Here, let me share my whole screen here just so I can switch tabs around. There, I believe that should work. You guys might see some Zoom fluff hanging around here. Oh, this did not work. Okay, hold on here. Yeah, so if we go now to Excel, we'll see that this has been populated within Excel. So we see the average total income, the median total income, and then these values. It's just a bit helpful. Like if you wanted to make your own visual, you don't have to copy out all the numbers. You can just cross tab it to Excel. So going back into Tableau. So again, you can just navigate the pages with the different buttons and things. You can hover over different chart elements to get more details and to sort of just get the data repeated. Yeah, and just go across. Like I was saying, it's very interesting to me, you know, how you can also get all this non-immigrant data. And a lot of this stuff, it has already been produced for the non-immigrant population, but to get like this different view, this different tabulation, I think has some value as well. Yeah, so that's just the main functionality of Tableau. So I'm gonna quickly move along here. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt. If there's any specific dashboards you wanted me to look at, we can do that as well. Let me find my PowerPoint again. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so this view here, this is, like I was saying, when you do the export to PowerPoint, so this is going to be exactly the page that you get, right? So it fits everything perfectly, which is nice. And then, you know, you have this nice title at the top to let you know what's going on. So, sorry, this is not behaving with me today. Okay, let me just do it in this view then. Yeah, so if you want to learn more about using Tableau, you can check out the Infographics and Dashboards portal, and you can also view our previous webinar on using Tableau for data visualization. So this was done in February of this year, so it's very recent, and I go into a lot more detail and look at a couple more dashboards. I now want to talk quickly just about QGIS. We plan to do an orientation on QGIS this year sometime. We're putting together some materials for that. But I just want to quickly give, you know, a very quick overview and just kind of like a quick start guide to make you guys feel like you could pursue this if it's something that you're interested in. So QGIS is an open source mapping software. Most CDP data can be mapped because census data is spatial data. So it's based off of these standard geographies, which also have associated shape files. And there's also the georeferencing file as well to join all those standard geographies together. And then on the right here, we just have an example. So this is the type of map that you can create in QGIS using a combination of census data and census boundary files. So if we go down here, this is when it'd be good to have a bigger screen, but this works. This seems okay. So these are just some very general steps of how to get the data from the catalog into QGIS and generate some sort of visual. So first, you're going to get your data from the catalog, obviously. So you export the stats that you need into a simple table like CSV using Beyond 2020, as Mike said. And make sure that you have the relevant GeoIDs in the export. So you saw Mike when he was changing the different geography labels. One of those geography labels will hold the UID. And it's important that your export has that UID because you're going to use it to link to the shape file, which will also have the UID. Next, you're going to get your map boundaries. So you're going to download the corresponding map boundary from Statistics Canada. I like getting them in .shape format, but you can, I think QGIS will accept any of the formats, so just use whatever you're most comfortable with. Load both the files into QGIS. So the boundary file you're going to add as a vector layer, and then the data table you'll add as a delimited text layer. And make sure that you assign the data types because sometimes, you know, it's always trying to make its best guess of what the data type is. And, you know, sometimes it's great and other times it's bad. In particular, it's bad with this because when you're working with UIDs, they can have lots of leading zeros or trailing zeros. And if this automatically assigns it to the type of number or numerical. It's going to get rid of things like leading zeros and trailing zeros, because it's going to think like, oh, 0, 0, 1, that's equal to 1. So we'll just store 1 in our data. And you got to catch that right at the beginning, because sometimes even after you see that the data type is messed up, so then you assign it back to being numerical. But because that sort of translation from 0, 0, 1 to just 1 has already happened, it's not going to then go back and go 0, 0, 1. It's going to just say, okay, now we just say 1 as text, right? And then when you go to join this with your boundary file, there's going to be a mismatch there, and it's not going to work out.
I guess we have only 10 minutes to the end of the webinar, so if
Yeah,
we can
okay.
wrap it up, that would be great.
Yeah, so then you're just going to join the table data to the map shapes using QGIS join feature, using that GeoID column like I was saying, and then to visualize your data. So now your map shapes have that data behind them, and then you can use the symbology options to create thematic maps, so color coding things and add different labels as necessary. So this is one that I quickly made, which is just showing the distribution of median shelter costs across Canada by census division. The red areas don't have any data. Lighter areas are cheaper, then darker areas are more expensive. And yeah, there's tons of customization you can do in this. And we're playing an orientation where we'll go through lots more details. Some quick tips. There's this great website, mapshaper.org. You can reduce the file size by simplifying of some of these maps. So if I play this video quickly here, you'll see that these boundaries look pretty much identical until you get down to around the 2.5% level. And then we start seeing details in the water disappear, and then, the whole shape goes away. So I recommend you go here and you see how small you can make this before you lose the granularity that you need, and then export that file, because you can make the file sizes much, much smaller. So the cartographic version of this CSD boundary file goes from 152 megabytes to 6 megabytes, so it's 25 times smaller. You can also use this to reproject things, and it's crucial that you use the same projection throughout each of your map layers. So we can see over here one projection of Canada, and then below it another projection. You can see they look very, very different. So you can imagine if we were trying to use these two projections in the same project, we'd run into some issues. And then the last tip is, if you have Python, or if you have the capacity to use Python, it's able to perform geospatial analysis much, much faster than QGIS. Like QGIS just slugs along, but Python will do actual geospatial analysis, like, points and polygons, a lot faster. Yeah, and then if you want to learn more about QGIS, we do have one tutorial about bringing data from the catalog into QGIS. And like I said, we're going to have a new one later in the year, so look out for that. And then, yeah, this information here is just if you want to learn more, you can come back, use these hyperlinks, and then I'll send it back to Saide to finish up and lead us into questions.
Thank you, August. So thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, please post it in chat box. We're here and we can stay longer. And so in the meantime that you're preparing your question, you can unmute your devices and ask your questions as well. In the meantime, I would like to share with you that the amazing event we are going to have in Thunder Bay in May 8th and 9th. And I'm going to share my screen to the event page that we created on our website. So it's in the news tab, learning and networking events. So this is a kind of great opportunity that you can connect with your peers, you learn from each other, and also gain insight into the community data initiatives. So just a reminder that there's a deadline in 2 weeks, the reduced rate for the Prince Arthur Waterfront Hotel booking rate will be ended. So please, if you want to register, please register through the links. It goes to the Eventbrite page, and that it's all free for CDP members, but we need to know the registration number in order to plan ahead. Also, the link into the hotel, it's at the bottom of this page. So you will see that on Wednesday, May 7th, we have some sort of fun events. That's kind of it. So will be hosted by Northern Policy Institute, and our CDP events start May 8th, and we have different presentations, stats can presentation, the rental housing affordability dashboard that we just briefly talked about this, and then the our presentation about how to monitor the community impact of trade disruptions. We have our members presentation, your region of Durham, York region, and others. And we will have an artificial intelligence presentation as well. And you have a chance to ask us anything at this presentation. So please register if you are interested. I would love to have you there. So with that, I would like to see if anyone has any other questions here. If you want to, unmute your devices and ask your questions, please do. We are here to respond to your questions, and if not, would like to thank you for joining us and hope to have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Sadie, Michael, and August. This is really helpful. I'm really looking forward to the QGIS presentation as well. I found both the explanation on Beyond 2020 as well as Tableau very useful. I think that the Tableau filters are so very useful. So I'm looking forward to your sharing the PowerPoint presentation so I could explore in person how that could be done. And one question is that you have such a wide amount of data available, and both for Tableau and Beyond 2020. But do you have any parcel level data available, Terranet, MPAC? Thank you.
Parcel, no. I mean, so can you give some? I'm not sure. You're talking about like land registry?
I think this is property values.
MPAC data and Terranet data. Does it not come under CDP?
No, because it's very hard to get that data at the national level, right? So if it's hard to get it at the national level, then it's hard for us to do a group by, in which case we don't usually acquire that data. Like with the MPAC and Terranet, I believe those are specific to Ontario, but I'm not 100% on that. But
it is possible, yeah, because my purview is only in Ontario. So yes, you're right.
Yeah, but specifically with MPAC data, if you have the tax roll assessment number, there's websites where you can look up the MPAC data based off the tax roll assessment number, but you would need those tax roll assessment numbers to be able to do that. I think sometimes you can also look up the MPAC data based off address as well. So definitely look into that.
The only reason I asked for is to understand, sometimes to understand growth, how towns have evolved and taking shape. If we go by year on parcel level, we can understand how towns have grown. So that's the reason I was asking. Similarly, in the earlier slides when the data was being shared, where Michael was sharing the information on, so he did mention some growth presentation or webinar was there, I think.
Yeah, you can also look at so census tracts might be able to help you a little bit here as well, because census tracts are based off of population and they sort of evolve with time. Like if you look at a census tract map and you look to a census metropolitan area, you will see like the census tracts are very, very small around the census metropolitan area because of that high population density. So you can kind of use that like old census tract boundary files to get sort of an idea of how the population density is changing over time. And then, you can also just look at historical population and things. But to get the actual like the parcels and the assessed property values and things like that, yeah, that's very much just MPAC and Terranet.
Thank you so much. I don't want to hog all the question and answer session, but I now remember when Michael was mentioning he was the link one webinar was CMHC. And I think CMHC tracks new growth through how
Mhm.
the foundation is board. But anyway, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate your responding to my questions. It's a
Yeah,
great session. You'll see
and
me
that,
again.
and we'll have CMHC data for the housing market survey from October 2024 up on the website soon, very soon. And it's got the same data that you can get from the housing market information portal online, but it's going to be in just a much easier format because their portal is pretty cumbersome to interact with and to get all the data that you
I
need.
know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you're interested in that CMAC data, if anyone's interested in that CMAC data like early, like you need it now to do any sort of work, just shoot me an email at august@communitydata.ca or information@communitydata.ca, and I can get the relevant tables to you.
So we have 2 more questions in the chat box if you guys can respond.
These look like good ones for you, Mike.
Do we anticipate getting this it's, I don't know that we get that this year. So this is the
This is a commuting
this is
flow.
the commuting flow table that we got before. There has been some interest in this expressed by other members. You know, it's worth, we have acquisitions for 2025 lined up fairly well, at least till the end of the year. Could certainly, you know, so kind of leads into the next question. What's the process for requesting potential data sets? It's essentially like this, you know, you can write me directly and say that you're interested in something. And we don't, you know, to manage expectations, obviously we don't turn around and order these things because we, you know, have a limited budget and but we do, you know, set priorities and
There's the data access working group as well.
yeah, so this would, you know, maybe be presented to the data and purchase access working group. We would discuss where this would sit with other priorities. You know, it's always keeping in mind that getting this means bumping something else off of the production list. But, you know, as more and more people express interest in something, it may be seen as an interesting project to get and a product to get. And I know that someone did express interest in getting a commuting flow table in the last couple months. But if you want to shoot me an email, or I can take this as your endorsement for that data set. And period of immigration. You know, it's just while I have you, is the immigration period of immigration, is that dimension key to this?
Sorry. I was just mostly interested in commuting flow from place of residence to place of work. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it would look although I think if I think about this, like if we were to get it again, we would get it either without that at all, or we would have an expanded demographic dimension that looks at immigrant status, racialized population status, and indigenous status.
Even
But
maybe even more just because 2021 was affected by the COVID. So maybe even more for the next census, it could be of interest.
yeah, absolutely. But this is, I'll take this as an endorsement. If you want to send me an email, that helps as well. Yeah, so we, you know, it's essentially, we talk about it internally. We put these suggestions to the working group. You know, at the end of last year and into the beginning of this year, we had a priority setting exercise, and you know, I've kind of mapped out a lot of the data purchases already for this year. But you know, for example, in the next question, the Canadian Income Survey and General Social Survey, you know, we are in that point in the census where, in the census cycle, where the data is starting to get a little bit stale, and we're acquiring less census data and more data from other sources. They were still getting a fair bit of census data, but this had come up in the working group discussions as well, getting data from Canadian Income Survey or General Social Survey. It would help to know what cycles and what variables you're interested in from the GSS and what you're interested in from Canadian Income Survey. You could send me an email, I think would be the best way to do that. The General Social Survey, I'm not really that hopeful about. We did an experiment before where we got data from the General Social Survey at census division and census subdivision level, and there's just a lot of suppression. And so anything that is like a somewhat marginal population, like you're wanting to get, that it has to be, instead of looking at people that say do not feel part of their community, it's better to look at people that do feel part of their community, because that's a larger proportion of people and there's less suppression. To give that example, I mean, getting something like the cross-tabulating it by visible minority status or immigrant status is going to reduce the population size, and there's even more suppression. We didn't get a lot of useful data out of the General Social Survey when we did this before. It's a sample survey, and for the cost, it wasn't really worth the amount of data that we were able to get at a community level. And Canadian Income Survey might be better. We discussed some ideas about maybe trying a modeling experiment using Canadian Income Survey variables, possibly, supported by tax filer data, as a way of helping the CIS variables. But yeah, it's hard to get some of these sample surveys that are designed for dissemination at mostly provincial level and at best CMA to get something for low levels of geography. Yeah, exactly. Food security. So I mean, food security for something lower than the health unit level, I wouldn't, one of the things that we are looking at getting quite seriously is to get Canadian Community Health Survey data at the health unit level, which, if ever they produce the public use microdata file, you could get yourself, but that always comes out rather late. So we would get the most recent CCHS survey and get a number of variables, food security being one of them, and at the health unit level. But we can't, I don't think we could promise anything better than that. And it's hard for us to do that and justify it with the amount of suppression that comes out of it. Particularly, I mean, it's hard to map some of these things to lower levels of geography, particularly census geography.
Okay, great. Is there any other questions? The people in the room?
Anyway, I'll just say, please, to those people, just send me an email if you want. It helps to just get the record of the request. I mean, I'll note it here, but
Yeah, I'll put the email list here. That's Mike, August, and then information that's kind of the general goes to both of them. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And I just stop recording.